back. This session I am talking about the Dockerfile part 2. In the previous section we saw how we can write a Dockerfile with basic command within bash. In this I will talk about the nuances of CMD and entry point and how those are very important when you write your own containers. So I can just want to delete this first. So what we had before, we had command and we had bin/bash. Now, anything, as I said before, command is nothing but which is passed after the container name, which is like a configuration which can be used. Now, what is the entry point? Entry point is nothing but to make the container as executable. And what I mean by executable is you write some certain scripts to make this container run and be ready to get request which can be uh, processed as executable. For example, I am having a Postgres as a container. Now what I do is I write an entry point scripts wherein I configure the Postgres by creating necessary users, necessary configurations, and then I make the Postgres ready so that any command I pass to that Postgres is executed. But that's more of application level. But to give an idea how this works, I can just show you here that how this works. So I give an entry point and I just say /bin/echo hello. Now what I do is I'll just show you here what will happen in this example and I'll explain later. Now I have given an entry point and the command together. So the way it works is that the command is the input to the entry point if I provide something like what I've shown here. Now what would happen if I run this? Well, before this I would just ask you to note that there is entry point is in the square brackets and what is the significance of this square bracket and if I don't give the square brackets, but that I'll come later. So first let's solve this. Yeah, so now I just build the image again dot minus t demo because I'm using the same image name demo. Now I just run this image minus I minus minus rm minus minus name demo. Now container image name is demo. Now I don't give anything, just observe here, I don't give anything and I just run. It says hello world. Now if you see, hello is the entry point for echo and command is the world, so this means that the command is always input. Now so I'm not giving any command, I'm not giving, I want to give a different command for it. Say hello, I just want to say hello docker. Yeah, so what happens is that after the container what you give goes as the command name here, and this specifically tells that in the entry point the scripts you want to run can be customized by passing certain commands. That's how it is working. Now the way these entry points and commands are given in this square bracket basically means that it's the exec way of creating the process. What is in the exec way is when you do a normal exec in the shell, the parent process is taken over by the child process so that it's a single process which is running, or the parent process is replaced by the child process. So there is no top process which is running. Now, when I give anything in a square bracket, it basically says that this is executed as an exec. And when it's executed as an exec, it's a single process which is running. And if the entry point is in the square bracket and the command is in square bracket, then command is taking or command is effective. So assume that if I have something like a command here and I just have something like echo hello world, then what would happen is in this case, let's see what happens. Yeah. So if you see here, what happens here, if I'm running something with the hello world, the entry point is run as hello and the command is run as bin sh minus c and then hello world. So this is basically nothing but a shell way of executing. If I don't give the square brackets, this is executed as a shell way of doing the things. Now, to make it more clear, I will change this entry point. So what I do is I just say entry point, I just say top, and I just say command minus b. Now it will show me basically the processes which are running top, and since you observe here is the square bracket, it means that this is a exec command, and I just build it again and I run it again. Now if you see here, observe it carefully, I have not given any command after the demo, and what it should do is it should say top minus p. If you see here, there is only PID 1 which is there and the user is root. Observe carefully, the PID is only 1. And if I say Control C, the container is stopped, which means that my signal to the container is directly going and doing a sig term and stopping the process. Now I come back here. Now what I do is I change this little bit and I can just say sorry for this slow typing minus p. So this is also possible, as I said, without square brackets. Now let's see what happens. Now I build it, now I run it. Now again the same thing, there is no command here because I don't want to give it. It's totally optional. And now let me run this. Now if you see here carefully, there is a one PID with SH. Basically it's a shell way of doing it. And then that shell internally started the top, or the one I gave, top minus p. So what happened, if you have seen here, is that the PID is 1 here and the sub process is, or the shell is the child process. Now when I see Control C here, if you see, nothing happens because there is no way that the sig term from your command line, from the terminal, can go back. So there's no mechanism in the container from sh1, the killing of the process will go to the top. So this cannot happen. So I can go to the another terminal and I can just say docker stop demo. However, this will not stop the container immediately, but it will stop it after the timeout of sig term is done, which is I think after 30 seconds. If you see this, the container is still running. So yeah, now it is stopped. So if you see here, when I ran it with the entry point top minus b, or without the square brackets, it is running as basically though as a shell command. And if I give anything after command here, for example, slash bin slash cat etc, just for example, let's there's no effect, the command is not taken. Just so note that entry point, if it is shell not exec, this is always ignored. It doesn't make sense at all, because anyway the command goes from the shell and back to the top, so this is never coming into picture at all. If this is a square bracket, something like this, or I can just make a dummy mode out of it wherein I say exec top and I just remove this and I build it. I'll stop it. Yeah, so I just made a dummy execution the way exec would do here, and let's see how it works. Now I build the container again and I run it again, the same. Let's see, now if you see again, the PID is 1 here, so that's basically the entry point. That's what exec means, what I mean by the square bracket. This is exact behavior of the square bracket. Just say Control C, the signal directly goes to the container and the container is terminated. That's what this process is all about. Now let's show you an interesting thing here. Now I comment this and I just say top minus p. Let's see what happens. I build it, I run it. Now if you see here, since there's only command and no square brackets, this is run as a shell way of doing it. And if you see again the same thing, there are two PIDs, and I just say stop again. So if you see that, if I don't give the square brackets, the command or entry point acts as basically though they are shell. If I give the square brackets, they act as an exec, and the only way to do, or the good way to do, is with the square brackets. Never ever do the way it is shown what I've done here without the square brackets, because the container cannot be controlled. You cannot kill the container. The state is abrupt. So this is not a good way of doing it. And I hope you have understood what's the difference between entry point and CMD. I would be more I would suggest that go and read more on this. So it would be very easy, and have some small examples on your own to understand and make it more clear. And lastly, all the examples and all the installation scripts, whatever I've shown, are already available on the Docker website, and they are as easy as what I've shown. So feel free to do this online and give me some feedback if you find it useful, or if you find it something is to be added or something is extra. I would be more than happy to edit my content. Yeah, and that's it for this session, and I think I close this um, Docker topic, and I would next sessions would be on the Kubernetes. Before going, one last thing, I would encourage everyone to run a Spring Boot Docker image, which is already available on the Spring Boot website, with a simple running of Hello World, and it would give you an idea of how basically uh, things in Docker work. If you feel that this is a little complicated, please comment me. I will do it for you. Thank you.